Got a Goring on the board, which is always fun. Got a real acceptance of it. I guess they want to go check and take this, but I'm castling anyway, bro. So we've got these really nice diagonals. They're trying to escape this way. So I could try to play e5 and punch them quick. Something I think I want to do, though, is maybe just bring my knight right to d5. I think that will be strong. E takes d5 should be a strong capture regardless, because of the opening of this file. Bishop b5 should make their long castle unsafe anyway, but I think I'm going to go with this. Queen d8, so they didn't want to give me e takes d5 in the opening of this file, so now they're far from castling anyway. So that's good. I think something here I might do is just the simple rook e1. We'll see how they develop. It's tough because of the pressure here. They don't have bishop e7, and they don't have knight f6 because I can also force g takes f6. So a really tough situation with the pressure along these two diagonals for black trying to develop. Something I probably want to look at is e5. I think this file should be quite strong. So okay, now they play queen d7. They probably should have played queen d7 directly, right? They play queen d8 blocking this. So they play queen d7 now. Now again threatening this. So I played rook e1. Maybe their king's going to be going away. If I play e5 now, take. Maybe nothing so consequential there. So something we can look at is just attacking in a different spot. So let's say rook c1. So now they're going to castle probably. Okay, so I wanted bishop b5. They took that away. I feel like we should have something good here. Yeah, let's play e or e5. And he takes. And bishop takes. So now we're pressuring this. There's no bishop d6 because of this. So we're really just striking in the middle. We got all our pieces ready to be active on the enemy king. So I'm looking at c7. I guess they might have to play rook c8, which will forever nix their long castle dreams. But after that, I have a lot of fun tactics regardless. Like knight takes c7 here, or bishop takes c7. Yeah, knight takes c7 should probably end the game here, because now they will not be able to take it an additional time. Or actually, bishop takes is the strongest. No, that's probably not true. Yeah, this is probably the strongest. So now if it just takes d1, I'll just play takes. And remember, I was only down like a pawn or two, so winning an exchange is enough to win the endgame. And if they take c7, then I'll take e6 with a tempo on their queen. I'm sure bishop takes c7 was probably even stronger here than what I did, because this allowed them to, you know, not get checkmated immediately. But we'll just have to knock him out in the endgame here. Trades are good. Try getting in there. So yeah, I mean, we got him because of this attack. Which was quite strong. Opponent not allowing simplifications. Okay, here, this is probably the easiest. Yeah, they're stuck. Oh wait, ooh, tricky situation. I can't stalemate them. So I had to do it like this. That was kind of a very tricky ending there. So wait, let's have a look at that game. That was quite interesting. So we had a Goring. Let's have a look at that one. Pretty interesting line. So we had a Goring Gambit. Yeah, I should have made bishop, right? I just had very little time. So, Goring is like a Danish, except it's just better. Because in the Danish, where we play d4, takes c3, first of all, d5 here kind of nixes everything and just leads to an equal position. Secondly, if black also knows what they're doing, they have like these nice moves like d5 and bishop to b4 check with knight f6. That also can be quite good. Whereas when we include knight f3 and knight c6, and then play it like as if we're playing a scotch, now d5 we have pawn takes d5, which tempos the knight, and knight f3 is a very useful move for us anyway, whereas they play knight c6, which isn't getting them closer to castling. So here, we're down 2 pawns, but we have a lot of compensation with these very, very strong bishops, which do a couple things. Like, there's a lot of pressure on f7, we have a lot of ideas to attack that, and also this bishop can't really move because of taking g7. So we have that. However, if black is able to get their king to safety out of the center, castling short or long, very often we can just be down 2 pawns. So we need to be able to get them. My opponent opts for a strategy of long castling. So they play your queen e7, but just castles. So they're threatening queen b4 check, which we're threatening the bishops, but here we're good. So d6, already you can see the engine didn't like that. And now knight c3, I want to just play knight d5. So bishop e6, knight d5. And now this is already quite strong. So they can't really take it because of takes, knight e5. And something I can do here, I guess I have a few options. But yeah, I have like take it and check, which will force king d8. And then like after d6, we can really just tear everything open. They have no development. We're threatening rook takes e5. We have all these files cooking against their king. So a really, really tough situation for black there. They're not going to be able to castle in time because of this knight c3, knight d5 idea attacking the queen, and they don't want to take that knight because of this file. It would open right onto their queen and king. So then we played here queen d8, queen d7 probably better, but here just rook e1, just, you know, why not? I'm bringing in a piece that's doing nothing. Now rook e1, now we're looking at e5, we're looking at putting the rook on the same file as the enemy king. So they play here queen d7, now trying to castle on rook c1, which is probably what I would have done in this position. If they play queen d7, I play here rook c1. And now with castles, there's this move bishop to b5, which is putting a ton of pressure right there. They don't have knight e7, I would take it, and I'm going to force pawn takes c6, but probably even at the most opportune moment, I'm going to probably try to play rook takes c6. So for example, if I get another move, takes, bishop takes c6, even if it weren't trapping the queen, I would have this checkmating idea on b7. So just a lot of pressure right down this file in a brutal pin. And if they force me to take it, then that's also fine. Queen a4, I still have various checkmating ideas here. For example, bishop d4 and rook b1 can be quite strong trying to checkmate on a7 and such. So lots of open files. I just have such a strong initiative. You see here all of white's pieces are playing very, very well, whereas black's pieces are not. And they cannot even castle because of this very strong resource bishop to b5 and queen a4. And just this rook is so strong. Also have pressure on c7. And also have knight d4, another resource piling onto this pin, which is going to be a very strong pin right in front of their king. So I just have open files everywhere, which is the one benefit of not having pawns, right? It's just that I have open files everywhere. Bishop is still doing something in terms of preventing that from developing. Would be doing more if the king were going that way. So a6 played in the game, trying to take away bishop b5, good resource. Here I played e5, engine preferred knight g5 as even stronger. Difficult to see. The point is that, wow, I can just take this anyway and just play queen a4. And the point is I'm just checkmating here anyway because my pieces are just that good. King b7, just rook b1. And wow, we're just gonna knock them out here just because of these files are just so strong, and I just have so many of them, and black has no pieces in the game to defend their king. So wow, but just bishop takes a6 would have worked. In the game I played e5, just trying to come after their king. They took it. Yeah, so castles, apparently bishop takes a6 and white's still winning. In the game they took, which was a mistake, takes, and bishop takes e5, and now this is a very rough situation for black because of the hit on c7. If they castle, then, well, a number of things. Probably bishop takes a6 could work with rook takes c7 coming, or even just bishop takes c7, and the rook is just going to demolish that poor king. And if bishop takes d5, that's going to open this onto the king. So, for example, bishop takes g7, check. And otherwise, yeah, so lots of pressure on c7. What do you do about that? Knight c7 check would win the rook at minimum. Bishop to d6 is not a possible resource because this would trap the rook. So my opponent played here rook c8. forever nixing their idea of castling. And here I just converted my advantage into, so queen h5 is actually the engine's recommendation because it's just like the situation is just that strong. So like, for example, if like b5, what you can do is like take and bishop takes e6. So we're pinning this pawn. And like the idea is that if queen takes e6, now we have this, winning the rook and winning just lots and lots of material. So queen h5 and white's attack just remains very, very strong. In the game, they take c7, takes, and they took d1 because, yeah, so here we are just picking up an exchange. It's nice to just convert your attack into a material advantage that you know you can just win. So take c7, bishop takes e6 would win the bishop at minimum because we're attacking the queen. So bishop takes, and then they just trade queens, but at this point we're ahead in exchange in the endgame, and we were able to convert that. Here we grabbed a pawn, and trades are good, and now just a rook versus knight. So my rook just, you know, has lots of targets it can attack, and we won that. I probably should have taken the pawn in this position. Probably not the most accurate, but then I took this, and I took on a4. Probably a nice way to win because these pawns should just be much faster in the endgame. For example, if king takes a4, king d4, and king c5, and here we're able to trade this pawn for this pawn, after which, you know, we'll just have these pawns that we'll promote. So in the game, pawn takes a4, and yeah, I think here, so we have to actually be quite precise, because I could try to race them, but maybe they can take a2, step out the way, and also promote. So I think the best was what I did, putting the king on c2, recognizing this is a rook pawn, so that their king can't get out. Their king can't get out. If they, you know, they can come back to guard the passed pawn, but then I will just eliminate this, and then I will just have two very far passed pawns. So that will win, because the king can't catch two very far passed pawns. So they went for this, king takes a2, g4, and h4. And this is a funny situation, you gotta be quite precise here. If they took it, I think then if I take, then it's a draw, because then a2, right? And h6, it's stalemate. They stalemate themselves. And if I come out, then I'll even lose. They'll promote first. So what you have to do here is actually g5. And then h4, g6, h3, g7, h2, g8. Assuming I got this right. Queen, queen. And then a ladder. So check, check, check. Staircase, rather. Check. It's a staircase. This king is boxed in. Wow. So it's only because of this resource that this position is winning. Check, 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 check. So we check, 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 and mate. So that's a pretty nice resource that we have. In the game, my opponent played a2, where white still needs to be quite careful, because if I take that, it's literally stalemate. So I played h6 and g5, only legal move. Again, I have to be quite careful. h7 is stalemate. So it's a good thing I had this guy, f4. Again, only legal move. h7, f3, h8. This is much less close because this is already actually checkmate. So yeah, it's an Hikaru staircase. Hikaru, yeah, I've seen that little TikTok of him just checking if it's a staircase. So that's, yeah, pretty nice resource. That was a tricky endgame. Obviously, I didn't have to make it that complicated. Here, I probably could have just started rolling with my pawns without playing rook takes a4. But always nice to get into a king pawn ending where you know you could win. So takes, and king c2. Here, I wonder, so if they played here g5, did I mess up? Takes here. Oh, so I'm still winning because I'll promote with check. I promote here with check. But this is much more complicated than I needed to make it. Better to play h4 so g5 can't come to lock my pawns. Better to probably play h4, so then g4 and h5. Alright, really interesting endgame, really interesting attacking game. Subscribe if that one goes on YouTube. I like that one. Okay, oh, this guy's number 2 in the arena. Oh, we gotta keep working. I probably shouldn't have taken all that time to analyze. Oh, let's get a Goring, though, if we can't. Nice. Scotch? Nope. Got a Goring Gambit on the board. Let's get the Gambit classes back on. Yeah, we got it all accepted. Opponent, a lot of people, yeah, they play it like it's a Danish, but we have these moves included. Okay, so this is one idea. Is e5 playable here? e5 and e4, queen d5 feels possible, but I know No, okay, it's with castles. Castles, castles, and I believe here the move is knight to g5. So yeah, bishop takes c3 is a move because it takes away this knight d5 resource, which is otherwise strong as soon as they lose the pin. So this is covered in my video. I've never had someone actually go into this. What was the move here? It was with f4 and e5, right? I don't think I've ever actually faced this. This is, though, the best way to take advantage of these very, very strong bishops. So we're 2 pawns down, and they were able to castle. However, let's go for this. Knight takes f7, and I believe we take it again. Yeah, we take it again, and then e5. So attack that never stops. Oh, so wait, with pawn takes, I think they already dropped a piece. They have now already dropped a piece. I can trade queens and take e5, or I can just take e5. Both of which are winning a piece. Yeah. I'll even take away their knight takes e5 option. Yeah, wait, pawn takes e5 dropped a piece, but I can't really blame them. This is very difficult to defend any knight move, and I would come in with, I think, queen check on h5, and then f5, f6 ideas. We'll have a look at analyzing this after, but this is one of the best ways to play against the Goring. A lot of people who have like studied anti-Danish defenses will play it this way. But with this knight f3, knight c6 inclusion, it really changes a lot of things. But this endgame is now should just be completely winning. I have here rook e1 as an interesting resource. Any bishop move, and I will have rook takes, such as that option. Okay, we're just gonna play rook f2, not lose this. My next move is just rook e2. We can take these Gambit classes off. So they have a pawn for the exchange, so we do have to, actually play this pretty well. I didn't have rook takes e6 and f7, just rook f8 there. No bishop g7 in that case. So now they should be pretty tied up, but we gotta move faster. Play your g4. H4 and G5. So they're gonna try to expand this way. Something I'm looking at is take and check. Oh, I should have just gone rook c2, attack the knight, and attack here. Okay, let's do that now. So this will force a bishop move. Now we'll trade the rocks. Okay, I guess I could throw that in. Take c6 was probably still good. Take b2, take c7 check. But I did allow them to get a lot of tempos advancing these pawns, which, like, this wasn't necessary. This was probably the idea I should have just done originally. So now any bishop move. It's not actually very helpful. Okay, now we got him. Okay, wait, 10 seconds though. Second pre-move. Yeah, we'll have a look at this after. Endgame was not the best on my part. Rook c4 is almost pre-move here. Yeah, my pawn was on a dark square. My bishop wasn't helpful in advancing that, so I should have just found some files for myself much quicker than I did. let's have a look at this. So the opening was good. The endgame was not, but we were able to pull that one out. So this is a very interesting line in the Goring that my opponent played. Although we do need to get back to the stream, to the arena, in order to win it. But yeah, so let's talk about the opening here. So Danish Gambit is with d4 and takes, and bishop c4. And a lot of people know this great resource to just trade and go check knight f6 castles, and they can do that very, very quickly. In this line, though, black has used the tempo to play knight c6 rather than just focus on the king side, playing knight f6 and often this d5 strike, where if they know some theory, it's a good way to get out of the Danish. But when we've included these moves and played it as if it's a scotch, they've now played knight c6, which is not helpful towards castling. So even this opponent, so for example, if they just did this without take c3, the reason why it's a very good move is because knight d5 is a very strong resource here, really unleashing the bishops towards the king. For example, takes, pawn takes, and like queen d4 can come, which very often attacks a piece, and often like there's not really f6 because of this issue, so there's the mate threat is very, very strong here. In the game, my opponent took and played this line, and now the line is knight g5. So we don't have knight d5. It looks like they castled, and it should just be 2 pawns up if they can consolidate, which is true, but we're not going to give them that time. So the move that I have covered in my video is knight g5, which is very, very interesting. It now threatens e5, and there's a ton of pressure coming here. So for example, if black is just kind of doing nothing, then e5, and with queen h5, we're attacking f7, we're attacking h7, and this is kind of like, you know, a Stafford idea to attack all that. So very often, so if they play h6, then we can take this and play e5, again, really driving this knight back, and black is up some material, but they really have nothing out. And then after queen check, and another thing white can do is here is f4, f5, f6, and so it's really, really strong attack. Black's king was castled, but doesn't really have the defenders, and this knight doesn't have squares like knight e4 check. Knight e4 will lose the knight, so it can be pretty difficult. d6 makes a lot of sense to stop e5, but we play f4, we're trying to play e5 anyway, so now after h6 we take it, and e5, and d takes e5 is a huge mistake. My opponent was just minus 0.3 here and should have done some like passive knight retreat to try to hang on to their extra material, but these pawns can keep coming. And this is covered in my Goring video. But yeah, after takes, so we should just be up in the endgame, and we're kind of just moving around here. Finally use this file. So, I mean, it was winning the whole time, but it was, you know, could have been done much better on my part. Anyway, let's get back to this arena. No music this time because someone on YouTube nixed my monetization. So I'm gonna have to find music that is more public domain kind of music, like Steamboat Willie, like the old Mickey Mouse. All right, let's get a Goring Gambit here. Berserking at 2030. Let's go. Got a Goring on the board. Fun lines, as recommended on my YouTube channel. d6 bishop e6 is a nice way to play and is one of the engine recommended ways to play. Focused on long castle, not common. Okay, we're looking at these pawns though. We're down 1. Really trying to keep them all. Okay, knight g5 and knight d4 check seems good. Let's go after this guy. I also had e5, another nice resource. Or bishop g5, rooks to the middle. Everything makes a lot of sense. My position's very pleasant. Theirs is ugly. They're playing knight d8. Alright, we got a strike in the middle. King's right there. I can get that pawn back if I feel like it. F4 is interesting just to keep trying to open things. Rook e1. I like this f4. Seems in the spirit of the position. Although, oh, they have this move with check. Give that with check. I did give them that with check by opening that. Probably rook e1 was more sensible there. Still, it's not so simple to castle. If you castle right now, then takes. The pieces are still awkwardly tied down to this. If you take f4 first, I will probably... I have this interesting move, knight e4. If I just go bishop takes f4, castles, rook e1, pressure. I could just try and get all my pawns back. But, so takes f4, knight e4 seems the most aggressive, trying to not let them castle. Oh, the other resource I have. Oh, I can't believe this took me that long to realize. Check, which would win the bishop. Because the king's still in the middle. Okay, they didn't realize it either. Oh, wait, okay. Here they have knight d7, so it's not like they lose immediately. But it can't be good. Knight d7 is not what they want to play. So knight d7 must be played or else you lose the bishop. Only way to deal with check. Can't be what they wanted. Knight d7. Now something I have is rook takes f4. So they had one chance to castle. It was very ugly. But that might be their only chance of the game. So something I wanted to do here is rook takes f4. Knight is gone, so castles is illegal. We got that cut, and their pieces are awkward and now can't get out of each other's way. So, like, if my queen gets hit, she'll probably drop back here, which would both target e6, and look at ideas like queen h5 check. And I would like to use these guys. Like, bishop takes f4 would have been more pleasant, but it would have allowed castles, and I don't want to let their king get safe. Probably still not that safe, honestly. Queen d3, threatening h7, like, maybe not a fun position, because these pieces aren't doing great. Okay, they're threatening this. Speaking of queen d3, takes queen g6, king e7, queen takes g7. At minimum, I'll take that rook. My rook is also hanging. But, okay, knight e4 is also very sensible. It just kind of keeps the attack going. In fact, okay, if I can attack just without sacking a piece, I think that just makes more sense. Like, why would I sack a piece to attack when I can just not sack a piece to attack? So now the bishop is hit. Bishop moves, and ooh, killer check coming across the board. Pawn is on h6, not h7, so there's no g6 in this position. And they're going to have to play knight f7, and that about does it. What's stronger, queen takes or rook takes? They're all quite strong. Rook takes, I like. Whew, brutal. They don't have long castle. Bishop g5, bringing this guy into the game, using this pin on the pawn here. So we're going to go knight takes g5, try to play knight takes e6. Otherwise, I'm threatening this. And the rook wants to come to d1, coordinate with his twin, attacking d7. And black has been playing minus a queen rook this whole game. I hope that pawn has been worth it, because you've been playing minus 14 points for that 1 point. Yeah, tough opening to play against. This is the true Gambit spirit. We've been down a pawn, but we've been up a lot in material, and we really got their king in that game. So knight f6, and oh, we're going to use all of our pieces. How beautiful. Rook comes into the game when our queen was under attack there. King e8. Oh, we got a couple ways to end this. How about rook to e7, double check, queen f7, pre-move, checkmate with the rook guarding that square and that square. So a really nice Goring attack there. We can have a look at that. That was a pretty nice Goring. My opponent played what I think is the Stockfish recommended defense, actually, with this move here. So we play the Goring Gambit instead of the Danish Gambit. So the Danish Gambit is with d4 takes c3. This, I'm sure you guys have seen this before. Levy Rosman, among others, has recommended this across the internet. The issue is that black here has like a couple resources, including d5 or like check, knight f6, and then d5, or even just d5 in this position. And it's just something people know, and it can really just kind of kill the whole attack. However, when you include knight f3, knight c6, and now do the same idea, d5 is not really a resource anymore, because the knight is now on c6. Takes d5 is going to hit that knight. And the other thing is that d5 here, we have this nice move, bishop d3, which isn't available with the knights back here. Here they would have knight f6. Here, knight f6, we have this nice move, takes c6. These lines are all covered on my channel, but it's a much more confusing and better version of the Danish here. And something we want to do in a lot of these lines is like this nice move, queen b3, which can hit f7. So for example, in this position, if my opponent played bishop e7, we have queen b3 hitting f7, and here black will lose immediately. They have no knight h6, I would take it. And so there's otherwise no ways to defend f7. And otherwise, I mean, there's a lot of quick hits we have on their position in general. Knight f6 in this position loses, for example. There's no knight e5 with the bishop controlling. So again, no way to defend f7. But a lot of really quick hits, really powerful stuff with these diagonals. My opponent played bishop e6, which is one of the Stockfish recommended ways to play, it makes that trade is very unnatural to play d6, bishop e6, like you'd ordinarily be focused on these pieces, which is mostly what I cover in the video. This is not common, but it's playable. So now we take back knight f6, queen b3, though. I think knight f6 was probably not the best choice here. I think, yeah, queen d7, and like it's consistent bishop e6 with trying to focus on long castle, in which case we'd still try to get him with the c-file with some other resources here. Like, our king is much safer and we're much better developed, so that's our general compensation for the pawn here. But knight f6 was played, queen b3. Now we're looking at both of these points, and black gets very passive very quickly. So queen c8 to defend both of these things. Here comes knight g5 and knight d8, which these are both the Stockfish recommended moves, but it's plus 0.6 here. And black is very passively tied down to this. If I just did something passive like bishop g2, though, they would kick me back, they would play bishop e7, they castle, and then, you know, if they got some time here and I just kind of doing nothing, la-di-da-di-da, they'd be up a pawn if they got their king to safety. So we have to strike quickly. So e5, without even thinking, makes a lot of sense. Takes, and f4. Yeah, so f4 is almost the best move. Not quite. Engine here recommending rook to d1. Oh, that's a nice idea, because so here we're focused on take, and knight takes e6, so just really, really strong stuff here. We're looking at queen takes b7, we're looking at bishop e3, and rook d1, and this knight on e6 so powerful, it controls both these squares, so there's no castling in either direction. Something like bishop e3 here, rook comes to d1, really, really strong stuff. Knights can play in tandem against c7, and no castling with the knight on e6, and that knight looks like it's going to live there for a while. So here in this position, I played f4 to try and open things up. There was this check, king h1, and here black had to be very precise. So it's 0.0 if they play this very precise move, bishop to d4. That's not what happened. Castles here also, yeah, not a good choice because takes. I'm going to take f8. I'm going to get my pawns back. Knight comes to e4, and it's still, they're so passively tied down to this, and the rook is jammed in as well. So just not a fun position. My opponent played takes f4, which is just opening so much up in the position. I'm down 3 pawns at this exact moment, but like, my king is so safe, their king is not going to be safe. If they could castle right now, then yeah, they'd be up some pawns. But I have here a check, because their king is in the middle of the board, have to play knight d7. We're focusing on unprotected pieces, which is the key. Queen b5, focus on unprotected pieces allows queen b5 to come to our minds. Here's knight d7, protecting the bishop, but now rook takes f4. Oh, that was not the best move, and we're back to equality. Interesting. So bishop takes f4 was best. What is the idea here? Oh, the idea is that wow, we can get them even after they castle. So, yeah, we can also get their king on g8. Their pieces are just that bad. So we're attacking the knight here. If the knight moves, we take this. If they play c6, we have this resource queen d3, which combines this with our threat on h7. And so here black is losing. Knight f6, bishop e5. Wow. So even though they got their king there, their pieces are just so bad that now we're threatening to take here and take h7, and there's really no good defense for that. g6, we just take f6 for free now. So, yeah, wow, brutal position with the threat on h7. They just could not free themselves. Black's pieces are just terrible. So in this position, I played rook takes f4, which cuts black from castling, and so black here needed to go here and h6 somehow to maintain equality, but this still seems like a very, very ugly position. h6 is a very sensible move. The only issue for them is that after knight e4, here black needs to lose the bishop. They can play a6, but after something like queen e2, I'm still going to try to come for queen h5 check, which is going to be just a brutal diagonal. Now that they've played h6, they can't even play g6 to block this diagonal. So bishop e7, and among many resources I have in this position, even bishop e3, white is doing excellently here because black just cannot get out of this ball in the middle, and they cannot get their king to safety. Rook's going to come to the middle of the board and just crush them. But even stronger is just queen to h5 check, which just wins the game right away. No g6 because there's no pawn on h7. So yeah, here we take the knight. And just for good measure, we're going to use all our pieces. Bishop to g5 just so happens to be the best move. Takes, we would take the rook and checkmate them. Bishop takes g5, so we're threatening on e7. Bishop takes g5, knight takes g5, threatening mate on e6. Knight f6 defends that, but, you know, they've still been playing minus these pieces. Rook comes into the game. Isn't that beautiful? Everyone joins, and now for good measure, a cute little checkmate. Double check. Double check is nice, even though both these pieces are hanging. Double check means you always have to move the king, and a beautiful little checkmate here. So a really, really nice scoring, a 23-move checkmate. We had the one mistake here, but some pretty good accuracies here. So really, really nice example of how to get them with the Goring, even against the Stockfish recommended way to play. Because, so yeah, I mean, they didn't lose here, right? Their position's okay, but it's still really, really tough to play because my king's very safe and theirs is not. My development's much better, and it's much more valuable than a pawn, that sort of thing. So subscribe if that kind of thing goes on YouTube. Oh, I see another raid. Gakos, Don Spinasso. Welcome, welcome. Elliot Alderson Chess, thanks so much for the raid. Welcome to the Gambit Man's channel where we're trying to win this arena with all Gambits. We're 1 point off the lead in the arena. We just won with a Goring there. You guys can do whatever you'd like. F3, what a terrible move. Do we think that's a mouse slip for F4? I'll go here and cut their castle. That might be a mouse slip for F4. I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to play F3. Oh, seems they have some big ideas here with F3. Okay. Oh, wow. Look at that. Nice. Alright, let's try and go here. Bother this knight. Knight A4. It's bothering me a little bit. So if knight takes c5, I'll take g3. And then, yeah, this is ugly for you. Knight needs to move, and then... Okay. Well, if they didn't move that knight... If they did move that knight, I was going to go rook takes h2. So here we're just ahead a piece. And can I take and go g2? I have queen d4, queen e2. They're not losing immediately. I want to go takes and g2 and couple that with queen d4. I think I can make that all work. It's very unnecessary, but it could be fun. Queen h4, g2. What's up, Fate? Doing the research. Opponent's opening explorer indeed shows all knight f3. Ah, so... That's interesting. I wonder why that happened. Okay. What to do here? Coming back, queen e2, bishop takes g2. I'm trying to do something like really fancy for no reason. Okay, let's just do something ridiculous. Let's give this rook. I'm gonna play crazy. Okay, so we're threatening checkmate here. Queen e2, I'm gonna go check, king d2, and like knight d4. Oh, take all my stuff, please. Yes, gorgeous. Oh, I'm literally Paul Morphy, guys. Literally me. That's why I don't play e4. Worst that can happen to me is a mouse slip c3. Nice. Should I take this? Guys, I'm literally Paul Morphy. This is crazy. Okay, wait. It would have been even nicer if they didn't take this. I can take g8 now. My other ideas were like this and knight d4. Knight d4 is probably still a good move. Okay, let's just take this. So, alright, I've managed to be down material. Kind of crazy that I managed to be down material in a position where it should be up so much. Well, I was just up a piece for nothing. Oh no, I'm not down material. I'm up. I'm up like a pawn. Okay, whatever. Let's just trade and take this. I could have played knight takes f3 there, maybe check and tried to mate him, but at minimum he was running away to b2. Alright, well this was fun. I had a lot of ways to win this game. Alright, let's go g2, g1. Let's take the bishop that comes to d4 in spite. No. Okay, cool. That was a funny game. That was a funny game. My opponent played f3. What's up, Liam 8 Mail? That's why I don't play e4. Yeah, I will die by e4. Best by test. The motion for knight f3 and f3 isn't all that different. So, okay, that was his first f3. He had played all knight f3s. It was against me that he mouse slipped. Man. Yeah, no gambit there because I don't know how to gambit against 2 f3. I had nothing prepped against it.